question to ask. Why is it that when older men that are financially stable want to settle down, they don't marry women of the same age group who are also financially stable? They go after the younger girls who are financially struggling. Like, let it make sense. As a man, I thought you want ease. I thought you want stability. Why is it that after a man have made money, hustled, getting money, when he wants to settle down, he'll go and marry those small girls in their early 20s that are broke and will not contribute anything like financial assistance to the marriage? Why? Is it choice, or is there an ulterior motive behind it? Because if you look around you, you see that most marriages are between girls of younger early 20s and men in their late 30s and 40s. Why is it that these men keep going to marry these small girls?
One of the other ways you can sort of approach some of these questions is when you were the beneficiary of this, when you were younger and you were getting the attention from older men, why wasn't that an issue? Why wasn't that part of the conversation? It's from a male point of view, when it seems like you age out of that, now there is the discussion. Now there is the questioning of it. Now there is, I don't like this. Right? It's part of the game. It's part of dating. If you want to look at it in the simplest terms, this is just what men want. One of the easiest things you can do to eliminate a lot of this confusion, a lot of this misunderstanding is you kind of listen to what men say they want, and you don't have a corresponding or a caged response ready to just simply clap back. Essentially, you're going to try to have a conversation rather than to convince him what he's doing is wrong and I need to shame you to get you back on track. If and for the longest time, men have consistently said they prefer a younger woman. Not doesn't mean that all men are going to be able to get that. For them, they're not. But when you eliminate the uncertainty of choice, and by that I mean that man has made it. He now has the optionality to decide this is what I want or this is what I want. That's when you're going to see him get what he wants. That's what you would see from most men who are in that position and saying, I value this over that. It would have been a very different conversation if you went and said, not about finances, if you said about relatability, if you said you probably want someone that gets you and what you've gone through and your level of maturity. I can sort of start to see where you can have that discussion. But this is just another attempt to sort of shame men like, well, what do you want her for? She doesn't have any money. I thought you wanted an easy life. Listen, before we address that, before we continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss no uploads. We're still trying to do 2 a day, even though, the algorithm is a little different, as of late. Either way, we're still going to continue. Live streams, we're going to see if we can set a decent schedule and say have like every Wednesday. We'll do like the bigger production live stream, and then we'll probably do like a little fireside chat sometime during the week as well. We just got to pick a date and see which really works for people, but hopefully that consistency will get people showing up more regularly. So to go back to this video, when you're talking about why men want an easier life, when men that have made it, right? Because that's the category that she's sort of set aside. So we're going to speak on that. When you're talking about men that have made it, you can't really tell them in this sense, okay, you want an easier life. An easier life is the thing that they've already created for themselves. An easier life is not going to be achievable because you have a woman with you that makes money as well. That's not the criteria in which we typically choose from when we're saying why we want an easier life. Again, this is a scenario, this is a situation where you simply listen to what men are saying, what they want, and what's important to them. That way, we don't have to waste time with you trying to convince them that they're wrong. If men are saying, I would rather value peace, and with that, correspondingly means that I'm with someone that doesn't have a lot of baggage. And it seems, I'm saying it seems, that the longer women sort of live and have experiences that don't go the way they wish it would go, that becomes another thing against men in general. That becomes another piece of the luggage that's sat down where they're saying, well, no, men suck. Here's the reasons why. This happened and this happened in this relationship and this happened, this, and then I had this experience and this experience. Sometimes you'll see a lot of cases or a lot of stories where women are simply they're repeating back something that happened when they're friends or something that happened to a friend of a friend of a friend, but that story is as good as gold to them, and their reasoning why they have such a distaste for men. It doesn't matter that in 1975 women were able to open up bank accounts and get credit cards in their name. They weren't alive in 1975. They didn't toil under that specific thing, but it's enough of a reason why they can comfortably say, this is why I hate men. Even though you, said man, was not also alive in 1975, did not write that law, did not have anything to do with that, was unaware of that until I said it now. But you take the brunt of that. Essentially, men have been saying this is one of the reasons why they prefer younger. You haven't been rocked and rolled by the world yet. The world hasn't shit on you, and then therefore you think everything is now shitty. There is that purity to it, and not. And this is the point in the story where it tends to be twisted and said you just like you're a pedo or you're a PDF. No, they're simply saying I would prefer you before the trauma. I would prefer you, right? If realistically, if you could leave a lot of that trauma, if you could recapture some of that spark and effervescence that you had before, yeah, I would prefer that version of you outside of the beauty, right? We can set this aside. We have an understanding why, yeah, you can't compete with your younger self. Physically, I can't compete with my younger self. I'm just kind of wiser now. I know the limits. I know the things I'm good at. I know where I gotta get good. I gotta get good at picking my spots. But beauty wise, you can't compete with that. That doesn't really matter what procedure, what treatment you go and get. That is what it is. You can debate that all you want. You will set that aside. But in terms of when you're saying when like she's saying that men want an easier life, I thought men wanted an easier life. That is part of the ease. Not that you haven't experienced the world as if, hey, let's go to Cancun and you're super excited versus you 20 years later, like, yeah, I've been Cancun all the time. I can just go to Cancun whenever I want. It's not special. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm simply talking that relationship you had with Tyrone ruined you. And you haven't, I say ruined you because you never let a lot of that baggage go. It stuck with you. It colors the way you look at the world now. And dealing with you is dealing with that. And that is a hard thing because, again, you haven't let it go. We don't really get over things. We just let time do what it's supposed to do. That's why we prefer you before the hurt, before the trauma. Again, if we had a better way, we had a consistent way, if we were more honest when we say, you're doing the work, I'm letting a lot of this stuff go, I'm learning, then yeah, we'd be happier to deal with who's around us. But when you give men the option, you give men optionality, they're going to show you what they want. You don't have to like it. You don't have to do anything about it. The best thing you do is simply accept it. Yeah, okay, this is what they want. That's it. Full stop. You may hate it. You may no. You didn't hate it when you were the recipient of their attention, when it was your turn. And that's if you were paying close attention to it, like you're looking at it now. Why do these guys in 30? Why do they get someone younger? Or 40s? Why do they get someone younger? That would have been your time to get one of those, to secure the bag, to secure that person. But as time goes, time kind of ages you out of this. And now you're starting to hate from outside of the club. You're not getting into the sections. You're not getting the benefit of the doubt. People aren't just doing things because you are young and gorgeous. Now you're starting to experience a world as beauty becomes less of a driving factor for you. And it's a very real phenomenon that happens to women. And sometimes you get honest conversations, but often you get more of the rhetoric saying, no, you're going to be beautiful at any age. I already saw one creator talking about my grandma's 96 and she still gets hit on. Okay. Like, okay. We're not here to debate that. Just okay. All right. Congratulations, your grandma. Right. Listen, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. If you see videos on your screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And if you listen to my voice, you have not subscribed, I think you should. I'm trying to build something dope.